if I add some salt to this, it won't be so bad. Lots and lots of salt. All right. Remember how I said a few episodes ago that I didn't think they were going to be able to pull off action combat because, well, I just didn't think they were going to be able to do it with the way they had the game set up? Well, I guess here I go. Better eat the sandal. Welcome to From the Ashes, the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast all about Ashes of Creation by Intrepid Studios. Bear witness to the rebirth of the MMORPG genre from the ashes of an industry that's left the gamers behind. I am Aggelos, founder of the Dungeon Crawler Network. We are coming to you live from the Mighty Beard Tavern as I try to get that taste of sandal out of my mouth. Should have wiped it off first, but I didn't. Anyway, I have some awesome co-hosts joining me tonight. The one, the only Stormzlord himself. How are you, sir?
Doing great, doing great.
Glad to see you here. Good to have you back. Speaking of good to have back, Alpha Soul. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. Glad to be back from vacation, ready to talk some Ashes of Creation.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I didn't know DCN offered such, lavish vacation times, but both Stormzlord and Alpha Soul took that, they're off doing whatever, but I'm sitting here working on stuff. Man, that sucks. No, just kidding. Glad you guys had a good time. And as always, one of our guests returning, the GM of Ember, Sinbad. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm glad to be back, man. It's going to be a lot of fun today, I think.
Yeah, and I appreciate your look you got going on.
Well, someone's got to have the beard, I mean,
yeah, I got you. I'm getting mine back. I got you. But I'm just saying, as one, bald bearded man to another, except mine still needs to come back in. I appreciate the look. So right Definitely. On. And it's nice because in the way the cameras are set up, we're like bookending the other two. So yeah, works out.
Yeah.
All right, we've got an amazing show planned tonight because, well, if you've seen the beginning of this, you know what we're going to be talking about. But we were first shown the action combat, finally, side of Ashes of Creation. We're going to dig into that. We also have a little bit of news coming up about new August pre-order cosmetics, as well as a change to some of the packages, as well as PAX 2008 tickets are now up on the site, as well as some of the cosmetics from that. So we will jump right on into that. But before we do, I definitely have to give a shout out to those awesome adventurers who support the Dungeon Crawler Network. Nicholas and Patrick on Patreon, supporting us over at patreon.com/Dungeon Crawler Network, as well as Artemis89, Quellic, Ishabu, who's done it for 3 months in a row, Farzua. She's going to kill me if I got it wrong. Surigard and Bernie has supported us over at twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network. Thank you so much, guys. You keep the metaphorical torches lit here, the software rolling, and the beer flowing. That's right. Yeah. We also had an amazing number of iTunes reviews because, I said last episode that, hey, no one's left us an iTunes review in a while. We had 5 last week to make up for that. So I definitely have to shout out a couple people who left us some awesome 5-star reviews. To save time, I'm not going to read them off, but I'm going to, give credit to the people who are there. Cure My Boredom gave us a 5-star review. Mark, great podcast. PD Marlowe, 5 stars, says if you are excited about AOC, don't miss this. There it is. JMart135, 5-star review. Great topics, varying perspectives, and much more. And those are from the United States. And we also had some awesome ones from the UK from SGR Gnarl. Is that Sergeant Gnarl or Yeah, I'm not sure. But they left us an amazing 5-star review that literally says amazing. So there you go. And one that we've not had in a while, or I've never seen before, but a 5-star review from Tanzania. Truly worth a listen. And this is actually from someone we know. This is from VoxOV. Awesome guy. He's the guy who does the... he does the comics. The comic strips that were so awesome to see. He's been working on another one, I think, so I'm really excited at that. But he left us one as well, and I know he actually said he doesn't even use iTunes. He downloaded it specifically to leave us a review, and that's greatly appreciated. So, awesome! Thank you so much. Everyone who left us a review, you guys really stepped up since we didn't have any the last week. And I was like, man, we didn't get any iTunes reviews. Well, these guys stepped up, left us a review, so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes they matter. All right, let's go ahead and hop right on into the news. I guess first off, probably the most time-sensitive one here we got is PAX West 2008 tickets are now up on the site. The PAX West 2008 attendee package is up for $265. That's the one I see on here, and I just lost it. That's going to give you a 4-day attendee pass, as well as all of the PAX exclusive stuff that we'll have up here on the screen shortly. So if you are planning on heading to PAX West, this might actually help you out a little bit. I needed a drink of water. Whew. All right, well, let's actually pull up the cosmetic package from this one, and if everyone has the site up, they'll be able to view it as well. We're just going to do the entire cosmetic package thing right off the bat. Looks like I have it right there, and now it's up on the screen. Of course, those of you listening to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Player FM now, and any other place that you listen to your podcast, there will be a link in the description below, or you can just head over to ashesofcreation.com/shop, and you'll be able to view all these images that we're talking about if you're not watching the video version. So the first thing we got is the house decor items. Is PAX West 2008, which is just the Divine Gateway in gold. I think that's similar to what we had in previous ones. There was something to do with, it has the PAX on there, so that's pretty neat. The top two, though, the Seahawk Cloak and the Stallion Prime. You guys get those? You see those right there?
Mm-hmm.
It's Seattle Seahawks, right? Is that the team?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Cloak of the Seahawk. Yeah.
He's like, open.
I don't know, something about sports balls. I don't know. I don't really pay attention, but I kind of, it's actually funny is I kind of looked at that and went, man, I kind of like the way the cloak looks because it reminded me of Medivh from WoW. It does.
Oh, yeah, he did have that same cloak. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying Medivh from WoW was a Seahawks fan? Maybe. No? All right.
Maybe.
No one got my joke. All right, whatever.
Well,
that's cool.
I've seen a cloak like that too, but it's from an anime called Hajime no Ippo, like a boxing anime. One of the main characters wears a cloak that looks like that, and that's actually why I'm not going to get it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough and completely valid reason. I support this reason. Sinbad, what about you?
Actually, I like it. I mean, to me, it's a very shamanistic, almost druid-like, appearance to it, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to be RPing as some type of like witch doctor or mage that's, hunkering down in the woods with my freehold in the woods, that's what I'm going to be getting. Because that's going to add to that motif for me. So I like it.
I don't want to get it, but I think I might just because I like Medivh from WoW, and it makes me want it just because of that. For no other reason than to make a Medivh wizard. But, yeah. All right.
Plus, I'm actually a fan of the Seahawks. Go Seahawks.
Oh, well, all right then.
Well,
Well, there you go.
yeah, can't blame me for that, but
I don't even know what you're talking about, you modern sports people. I don't get it. All right. The Stallion Prime, obviously we have that up there. That's just, I don't know what that is. It's like a weird feathered horse. Yeah?
yeah, so look at those feathers or something in the legs. That looks interesting.
Right. Again, I think it's very much a Seahawks theme for the entire thing. So if you're interested in checking that out, there you go. I'm still debating on the cloak of the Seahawk. I kind of want it, but I also don't want it. I don't know. We'll have to look at it. We'll go from there. Alrighty then. Any other comments about the cosmetics that you thought one or the other before we move on to the next little bit? No. All right. The next thing on the list. This one is actually kind of interesting because there has been a change, and this is something I want to mark going forward. As of, we're recording this on the 19th. This is going to come out on the 20th. But as of the 15th, the Intrepid pre-order package is gone and has been replaced by a Voyager Plus pre-order package, which I'm going to talk about here briefly because it is different. Normally we weren't talk about it because it was all the same, but they replaced the Intrepid with the Voyager Plus, which is now $375, not $500. But you get access to Alpha 2, Beta 1 and 2, 9 months of game time, $125 in Embers, which is their in-game marketplace credits, and then all of whatever that month's package is going to be. And in this case, it's something very much orcish, which we will talk about shortly. Sinbad, do you feel like telling a sad story?
A sad story? What do you mean?
I don't know if it was the sad story.
Oh, yes, indeed. So one of our members, he relies on donations. He's a streamer. So he managed to get just enough money together to buy that $500 package. But it was the day after. It was on the 16th. It was after, unfortunately, they took that down. So he wasn't able to get it. If you guys were lucky enough to get one, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great time during Alpha 1. Yeah.
No, we felt like we'll give your guilty a little bit of stream time, even though it's a sad story, but so close.
Yeah.
So close.
So close.
All right. With the 15th came a new set of pre-order package bonus cosmetics. And the first one, Shroud of the Fallen, which is their... I want to say it's a cloak, and I will have it up here on the screen for you to see. It's right there if you can actually make it out. Again, you can check it out, ashesofcreation.com/shop if you want to look at the cosmetic. Is this the Renkai orcs? Is that what they are? I have to pull up the Kickstarter now because that's the only place I know to go to actually get this stuff. That tells me I don't want to make a mistake like I did the last time and call Pyrian elves when it's Pyri and instead, because it's actually, they're not races, they're like tribes, because the race is actually the group above it. Like
it's the Renkai. Yeah.
Renkai, yeah.
Orcs.
Because it's Kaivek. Kaivek orcs is the race of orcs, and then there's 2 tribes within the Kaivek orcs. So it's really 4 races, 2 sub-tribes. Because Ayla humans are Kalar and Valoon, and Pyrian elves are Empyrean and Pyri, so you have 2 tribes. But anyway, this is obviously based off of the Renkai, because I think, Sinbad, you were the one who mentioned that you thought their aesthetic was actually more of a Japanese-type aesthetic, which we will definitely see in a later image. Shroud of the Fallen, though. Skulls hanging off of it. I kind of like it.
Wait, so... what am I looking at here? I don't quite get what I'm looking at.
Okay, well, it's a shoulder cloak. Okay, so it's hanging off one side. Kind of reminds me of the old swordsman cloaks from the Renaissance period where they'd hide their sword arm. It's fur. It almost looks like cloth and fur, but they have skulls hanging off of it.
Oh, okay.
So those are skulls hanging off the side.
Got you. I was wondering why the dark part in the back. I'm like, you can't see.
Well, the thing on the back is just supposed to represent a character.
Just the person. All right, I'm waking up. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty neat contrast, though, between them and the other subspecies of orcs, which is very much like Aztec motifs, this being very much Japanese. Because it is. I mean, if you look at like the samurai, the helmets, the armor that you can see here are very reminiscent of it. Even the ship is very reminiscent of a Japanese style or an Asian motif. But it's also very dark and almost like a horror movie, like something out of like a Laura Croft movie or something like that.
Well, that's, I mean, let's not paint the samurai culture as all fluffy and anime-like, because they
yes.
were kind of brutal. I'm telling you.
True.
Wearing your enemy's skulls, I could see them doing something like that. It wasn't till the later Edo type period where they became more sophisticated, if you will. But the early ones, no, I could. It was definitely tribal, and that's something you could see until the. I guess what is it, Yamato clan or whatever is the one that pretty much took over everyone else, and that was pretty much the end of the tribal society. I don't know. I don't know my Japanese history that much. I just tried to say it to sound smart. But hey, I might be wrong. I don't care. You can correct me if you want. I probably won't listen. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. I have no idea what this is. This is the what is it? Wrath's Harbinger. All right, so I'm going to pull that up on the screen. You can see that right now. It is some sort of demon monkey. I don't know.
I was thinking flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz, but yeah.
Now that you say it, it does kind of look like that, but does it have multiple arms? Like,
it looks like it. It looks like there's 4 arms and 2 legs.
Demon monkey. Okay.
Demon monkey?
Demon monkey. That's what it is. All right. Anyone else? Nothing else on the demon monkey?
Well, to be honest, the fact that it has multiple arms, it makes me think of like an old school god, like something out of like Hinduism or something like that,
Which would fit the Asian culture.
Yeah, like it's actually very unique to what we've seen so far in this world, and I love it because of that uniqueness.
Demon monkey.
Yeah.
Demon monkey.
It's pretty neat. I love it.
Okay. All right. So I know you're having this internal conflict, Sinbad, because you said it in the pre-show about how much money you're gonna spend because you want all of it.
Well, so out of all these packages, like the pre-order packages and then also the PAX West package, for myself, I have to get at least the Rhino, the pet, the ship, the armor. I have to get the cape for the Seahawks cape. And I'm also thinking about getting the the hunter shack too, because I want to be a hunter in game. So there's just so much money. It's Steven's just like, he's annihilating my wallet. I don't understand why he's wanting to do this to me.
So in reality, the only 2 things you didn't want is the housing item and the house. Okay. Everything else is like, I must have all of it.
Yes.
All right.
I'm a collector,
I feel you on that one, and it's been what helped me was when I didn't buy any of the first ones. I said I'm not buying any of the Necro stuff. I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to do it, even though I want to. I'm not going to do it, and I didn't. And that's really allowed me not to hit the collector stride, because now every time I go in my mind, I go, yeah, but I'm still always going to be missing those other items. So it doesn't, unless I really like something, I'm not going to get it anymore, which has helped me break that incredible collector spend money problem. Anyway, moving on, we have the Rhino you talked about, the Noble Warhorn. Aw, it's cute. It eats stuff. But every time I see the Rhino, I just think of Ace Ventura. The scene from Ace Ventura.
The people just watching him climbing up the rear.
Oh, look, it's giving birth. Oh. Now that image is in your head. Guys, what do you think of the Noble Warhorn?
I think
I love it.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm not sure I really can take Sinbad's suggestions going forward, because he pretty much said he loved all of it. So
yeah,
I do. This package this season, it's amazing. Like, honestly, they keep getting better and better with each passing month. When you look back to where you had Stuffertons, and then you had the giant swan boat.
Fair enough.
And now you have amazing, beautiful ships that I have to have. I just have to have it. I'm gonna be on that ship in game.
And that's fine. And I think a lot of it is because they did get a lot of crap for the Stuffertons and the swan boat and what was the other one that was just like the pastry shop freehold appearance, was just like, oh, why? And they took our feedback on that and really started changing it up, which I appreciate that they decided to go the more serious route. Despite the fact I'm not real fond of Asian culture in the most part, the house, the shack, the hunter's dwelling is pretty freaking awesome. I'm not going to lie. I like it. I definitely like it. And again, that's just my aesthetic. I don't really care for the Asian aesthetic, but this one's pretty cool because I like the horn sticking out the top for the rafters. Really does kind of show that little mix of the hunter aspect trying to also mix with the Japanese aesthetic, which is the Renkai orcs.
Yeah. It would actually be kind of neat to see, if you can actually go out and use that in a way where when you're butchering an animal, it actually shows up on that little rack. That'd be kind of a neat little like extra touch in game. Yeah.
Well, I see, and here's something that would be a fun discussion topic, but not really for an entire show. These freehold appearances that they're bringing up, are they just appearances, or do they only work if it's the type of building that you're slotting? For instance,
I wonder the exact same thing.
It would be a butcher shop. If you were doing a butcher shop or some sort of meat processing or something like that, could you use this? I don't know. Could you put this over top of a tavern or a blacksmith shop? Probably not.
I don't think so. I think Steven's made it pretty clear that most of these things are specific to a specific role in this in your freehold plot. Because he said in the past live streams as well that you can set up your freehold to be useful, to have certain utilities. So it wouldn't make sense to have a butcher's house that's actually a tavern. Maybe outside of Halloween, possibly, but.
Hey, well, what's really cool about that then is maybe we will see carcasses hanging off of it when you're doing something. Next up is a Wrath's Legacy, which is the costume skin. This is actually pretty neat from my point of view. It does not look Japanese inspired, but it looks very bestial and tribal, and I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is one that I could say I would probably want because it definitely is. It's brutal, and I like it.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Okay. And
I like the similarities between the Shroud and Wrath's Legacy.
Oh, they would probably go together perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Finally, Sinbad's here, and he needs to talk about the boat, because there you go. The Wind's Veil is what they're calling this. This is definitely Asian-inspired.
Yeah. From just an aesthetics perspective, I appreciate how brutal it looks.
Yeah.
Like the spikes on the front, the ramming spike there that has that low dip, just where you can get underneath the waterline of the opposing ship. That to me is amazing design. The different sails on the back to help control the steer of the ship. It to me, like the Vikings and the Japanese cultures, those were two things I grew up on, right? Those are two things I wish I could be a part of if I could go back in history. And those are two things I always play if I can ever play them in a game like an RTS, like,
Age of Empires, yeah.
Yeah, Age of Empires, yeah. So for myself, I'm personally going to be getting this. You'll probably see myself and maybe a couple friends with these, just, going after people. It's going to be so much fun.
Man, all I ever played was the Teutonic Knights. Man. I really like the Teutonic Knights in Age of Empires. What can I say? That's whatever. Kind of fits with the themes that I tend to like. And all right. So that was the two bits of news we had. Obviously, you could check all that out on ashesaccretion.com/shop. Check that out if you're interested in getting any of that. All right, guys. Now we're moving into the fun stuff. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to play the entire video in its entirety for you, the viewer. There will be a link in the description below for podcast listeners that if you want to pause your podcast episode right now, not if you're driving, please don't do that. Find a time where you can do it. Watch the video, come back, and then we're actually going to talk about it in detail. So we're going to go ahead and play that now. pretty much the end of that one. Guys, dang.
Looks good. Looks good.
I think someone, I'm gonna shout her out here because I can. Belle, we were talking about it afterwards. The Belle bot herself. She's like, it's ESO on crack. From the movement mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they changed how like the audio attack is now like with the mouse click. I'm feeling pretty good about that one.
Oh yeah.
Because I like ESO. I know some people hate ESO, but I loved ESO. And yeah, if you're getting your auto attack off mouse click and everything, oh, it feels very, very ESO, and I appreciate that. A couple critiques that I'm gonna have right off the bat, other than the aesthetics. Steven, please, Steven, if you love me, please, for one thing. But just give me a standard greatsword. None of this wing stuff. I'd be happy. All right, done with that. Armor aesthetics aside, weapon aesthetics aside, we'll get, you know, I don't like those. Some of the spell effects were a little over the top. Not the big ones. I like the meteor, the big spells that take time. Yeah, cool. But didn't you feel like there was a lot of flash going on for everything?
Yeah, there seems to be a lot, especially, I mean, sure, in that one-on-one situation, it looks impressive and everything like that, but once you start adding in, you know, forget, 150 or 300, what we're talking about, just 5 or 10 people, and I can see that becoming overwhelming.
Yeah. And how much can you turn spell effects down before you start missing, like turning other spell effects off, that's great, but then you don't know, oh, crud, am I standing in crap?
Yeah, that's going to be how they play that. It's going to be important. Honestly, I think it just looks awesome. It just depends how they're going to deal with the fact of overload.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that from a slider perspective, having that slider in there to turn down the graphics, to turn down the effects specifically, and even just having an option for what effects you want, like, AoE effects, maybe you want to keep at least the template on the ground for where the AoE would be at. But yeah, they need to have a slider there. Otherwise, during those huge siege battles, it's going to be insane.
Not just like, AoEs, but also heals AoEs, right? So you want to know what the heals are.
Yeah, there's a lot. I just thought that not even the big ones. Like, I like big spell effects if the spell is a big effect. Like in ESO, ultimates were something that you would build up to. And they're going to have those charged attacks in Ashes of Creation. That's awesome, and I don't mind big spell effects for those because they're not something that you can spam. But the thing in particular that I was looking at was the spell effect, the yellow wand spell effect. I think you could subtle that down a little bit so it didn't feel like you were throwing, I don't know, toilet paper at them. Like, just, it was wide. It was very wide. I think that, could be trimmed down a little bit or spell effect
change. But if it
change.
could miss, you might have to have that. That's because if you're gonna miss, you want to know what misses. You're gonna have to want to see that. Well, in my opinion.
Right.
No, I agree. I'm not saying make it invisible. I'm saying trim it down a little bit because that super wide spell effect is already going to add. My poor little 1080 over here is going to start lighting on fire.
Well, you just have to get a bigger one. That's all.
Yeah, two of them. Let's hook that together. So,
okay.
Go ahead.
From a perspective of the animation, having a slightly smaller one and then an impact animation as well, almost like blood spatter in like a first-person shooter, for example.
Sure.
But like instead of with a spell, it'd be like a little light casting off or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's reasonable because I do think that it still should be something that requires a lot of skill to aim, and having a smaller animation will up that skill level a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, but you also that teleport is just awesome.
Oh, the blink effect? Yeah.
The purple? I don't know what they're calling it, but that's huge.
That was That was pretty sexy. I'm not gonna lie there. Can I also say the spear animation looked freaking awesome? By the way.
Oh, it did.
Like, I mean, all the well, I shouldn't say all the animations, but the two-handed sword animation looked actually fairly decent. But the spear animation that we saw, that one looked good for a spear animation. I was excited. So few games do spears that when you see animations, they just look weird. I'm thinking biting jabs from ESO, which is the only spear attack that you got. It's not even a spear, it's a spear of light. And it does a few jabs at the top and then does an overhead jab, which is pretty much what you would do with a spear. But that person was fighting like with a cavalry spear and was using not like something you would hide behind a shield wall, but the guy looked like Oberyn Martell from Game of Thrones the way he was fighting, and that was fantastic to watch.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, my brain is moving forward and sideways and watching it again. But with the arrow, if you notice the arrow, every time it hits the dirt, if it doesn't hit somebody, it also kicks up a little bit of stuff. So you can see when there's a miss, you can see when there's a hit. And all that is going to have an effect, but it just looks tremendous.
Oh, yeah. I never even noticed that. I just related it to it. Huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it back up here without getting sound to play at the exact same time, which is more difficult than you would imagine. There we go.
I just got on a loop watching it while you guys talk, but it's just amazing the way they're doing it. I mean, you're right. They're going to have to tone it down a little bit, or it might get overwhelming with more than 5-10 people in a room.
No, it's definitely going to. And I'm sure there will be a way to limit spell effects to what's in your general vicinity, but yeah.
You'll also start to see a lot of jumping, which will actually have an effect in this game, it looks like, as opposed to ESO. Because if you can displace from the ground, you can displace any AoE effects if they're stuck to the ground. As well as aiming. Your aiming's off if you have to aim and you can jump sideways or whatever. So really interesting to see which people jumping. Like in first-person shooters.
Yeah, this is kind of a hybrid between a first-person shooter and, a typical MMO.
Yeah.
Which you actually got to see someone take a headshot with the bow. He actually hit him in the face and it killed him.
That was pretty awesome.
I think
to me, that's
awesome.
Yeah, to me, that's super unique. You don't usually see MMOs have hitboxes that are specific to the head, the torso, and all of that. So that means that if you can actually get those headshots, you could, as a ranger, potentially one-shot someone, perhaps.
Well, they did say they are doing 3 separate hitboxes, right? It was chest, head, and whatever
about
else.
That then, right? For everybody in the frame, you have 3. That's times 3 for hitboxes.
That's pretty awesome.
All that. It's just tremendous.
I love the zoom in. Like when you go to shoot your bow, like you have that third party isometric kind of look from not isometric, it's third party behind. But as soon as you pull your bow, it's like your vision goes in and you're seeing him pull the bow. Oh, that looked pretty sick.
And part of it now, and I'm not sure if it's tab targeting or what, but you're seeing a guy focus on somebody and then that enemy runs behind something and you can see them in like a glow.
I don't know. Well, in this particular alpha, they don't have any tab targeting enabled.
Whatever this is, you can see him running behind something.
It could just be like a target assist from the reticule mode.
Could be.
We don't see the reticle because they have that turned off. The whole UI is turned off. But yeah, I'm sure it's some sort of target assist or target view that I seen. I know it compares slightly, but WoW added this recently. I shouldn't say recently, but they actually added when you do a mouse hover, it actually outlines the NPC in a glow, so you know what you're clicking on. Which,
they should want some way to play with it, because if you're going to be an assassin or ranger from something, you don't want them to know where you are, right? So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. To me, from a perspective of that, it could also just be for this testing.
It could be. Oh yeah.
It could be where that's not actually in game when you actually get in game. But
true.
Perhaps when you go into stealth, that would take away their active ability to track you, including seeing behind the objects like you normally be able to see.
Yeah.
You also see a couple times the person you're following dives into that predator mode.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the only thing that actually worried me about this whole thing, and I loved the combat and everything like that, was that aspect of potentially having, if they have 3 separate hitboxes and they have specifically a headshot one, and you get bonus damage for hitting that. To me, that starts to introduce the aim bots and things that you have running around in traditional FPS games. Like, I mean, they still have that problem within Overwatch, and that's a Blizzard game.
Right.
You know, that you have stored. It's not
You're
an
gonna have
easy
to watch
thing to
that
get rid
cheat
of.
engine. Yeah. Absolutely.
True. At the same time, though, I'm wondering how much is client side though for that. You know, one of the main issues with FPS is a lot of the information is client side, so that's where you get to be able to insert your own files and essentially be able to actually cheat in that sense. If a lot of that's on the server side, it's going to be a lot more difficult to create an aimbot for it.
Well,
It's gonna depend.
yes and no. With the server checksum, what it does is like the client side will say you're here, but will then do a handshake with the server to verify at that point in time. That's where when you start getting latency issues, that's where this could be a little bit of an issue, and why most MMOs, at least back in the day with the amount of players you had, went with not action combat because of latency really being a factor. But if there's an auto assist, it could still work from a client side if it moves your, you know, that, like I watched someone do that with Overwatch already. They were using, I guess, Widowmaker or whatever, and it was like, it almost felt like OBS or Photoshop with the Snap 2 feature. They moved the mouse as soon as it got the head. It just like moved it for them to where the headshot was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That would still happen and could still be recorded at that point. It's whether or not the cheat engine could determine, oh my goodness, we noticed that you're getting these microsecond adjustments to a perfect spot right away. I don't know if they'd be able to record that or not, but yeah, you definitely pointed something out there, Alpha, that we're gonna definitely see some issues, I think, very early on with cheat bots. I mean, that happens in a lot of MMOs. You remember the meteor spam problem that we had in ESO just recently, where people were able to glitch. Now, it's not quite the same in terms of this, but they found a way of glitching meteor, which is one of the more powerful ultimates in the game, and they were able to chain cast it over and over and over again without actually having to build it up. There was a video of a guy outside a keep trying to defend this, you know, with his group, and this person just dropped meteor after meteor after meteor after meteor. It was insane. There had to be 30, 40 meteors at one shot.
Jeez.
It was nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've made a pretty big emphasis on having an anti-cheat system in the game from the very beginning.
Yeah.
They've said that they've been working hand in hand with, I'm not sure who the company was, but
Pentacon or Pentacon Labs. I think it is Pentagon Labs or
so at the very least, they are actively trying to make sure that their game doesn't get a lot of people botting, a lot of people hacking it. So I hope, you know, obviously it'll still be an issue, but I hope it won't be as much of an issue.
Now, here's something that I thought was kind of interesting, which I'm not sure if I really like. I was watching the teleport, and the guy was behind this cage. Did you notice he used the teleport to go through the wall?
Yeah,
It went through the wall,
I'm not sure if I like that.
Why?
That just...
Actually, I really like that.
All right. I said I don't really like that from a... I mean, I guess from a competitive standpoint, if you're able to line yourself up, but I wonder if how many people are going to get glitched into a wall with that. I feel like line of sight should still be a factor, or otherwise I should be able to shoot through a wall as well.
Well, so you got to look at what you're... Yeah, you're looking at like two different things, right? One is teleportation, one is a projectile object, right? So that line of sight's still working. It's just the teleportation is basically putting you behind the wall when you're teleporting. It's not quite the same as like a projectile. But I like it. And from a competitive standpoint,
you're playing a mage, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
see, that's why you like it.
I was thinking actually mage ranger combo. You know,
that's why you like
fun.
it.
be a pretty fun combo. Pretty deadly. That high mobility though, that on its own is going to have quite a lot that you have to be very careful of, because if you put yourself in the wrong spot, you could actually get too close to an enemy who's trying to basically flank. You could put yourself too far away where now you're out of range. There's a lot that you have to actually take into consideration with it. But from a mechanical standpoint in the game, I'm thinking they're going to have walls you can't teleport through and walls you can.
Okay. I mean, from a melee perspective, I'm just getting nightmares of freaking Mage sorts again from ESO. Oh, they were such a pain in the butt because, I mean, they just teleport away like nonstop. From a melee fighter perspective, that's just gonna suck. You know what I mean? If you're chasing someone towards like where that person was in between that fenced area, you're like, I got him now. The one thing that a melee is supposed to be able to do is close in on its target, and that's how we kill these things.
Yeah.
But then if they're able to teleport through a wall,
well, it depends on what walls, Like,
well, if they get to do that, I want melee fighters to be able to have like parkour jump where they just like grab hold of it and just flip over top of it. Yeah.
Or some of those classes, like the spell lockers or whatever the heck, they could have something that potentially locks any movement-based, spells or something like that.
From the other perspective too, if you have a secondary mage class as a fighter, you could potentially teleport with them.
Teleport right after.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, because I like the spell sword. That was one of my favorites. It's probably something that I would probably end up playing as well. Because come on now.
Oh yeah.
After seeing that teleport, I'm just like, yeah. All right. So yeah, I know we talked about this once upon a time. I forget which episode it was. It was like 3 or 4 episodes ago. Hence why I had to eat my shoe on this one. Balance issues though between tab target, because I know we had a few people even in our guild chat was like, yeah, keep the action, no tab. I'm like, you do realize tab is still gonna be a thing, right? Like, it's not taking that out. Tab target's still gonna be in here. How do you think they're gonna balance that? Especially the thing is with the headshot. If you're
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's a nightmare.
From a balancing perspective, it has to be that tab target is either going to do less damage, or as an action combat person, you're going to be able to have like some type of iframe while you can dodge, so that way you can still get away from some of the tab target skills. Like, I'm not sure how they're going to balance it. It's going to be I have no idea.
Yeah.
They're going to have that percentage ability to dodge it, right? If it's going to be the tab target, you got to have that built-in ability.
Now, I believe this was mentioned somewhere, and I can't remember where. Maybe there was something stated that no one's going to be able to go 100% in one way. It's like 85-15 is the max you can go. So, like, if you're 85% action, you still have a few abilities that will end up being tab target and vice versa. So you can't go 100% that way. I'm not sure where even I heard that, but I did hear that somewhere. So I wonder if that's part of the balancing issue, is someone's still going to have tab target abilities regardless, or some sort of targetable skill. No.
Possibly. I'm pretty sure I've heard Steven say that if you want to, you can be completely action combat or completely tab target.
That's what I thought as well, but I could have swore it was on the last live stream where they said it. Like, I feel like it was somewhere official where it came out saying that, you're still going to be like 85-15 of action versus, tab target. So I'm sure there's probably something tab target you'll have, but it's still pretty awesome. And any other final comments, guys, on this before we start wrapping up the show? Anything you want to say?
Nah, only that. If I was to make a guess, it's either going to be Guild Wars 2 or ESO. One of the two. Those are the two that I kind of see the combat kind of being like. Which is not a bad thing. I like both combat. But yeah.
I kind of see it a little bit beyond that. I do see it very similar to being like Warframe, in the sense of having that mobility, that same type of camera perspective, but then combined with abilities like that you typically see in an MMO. From a balancing perspective, it's going to be really interesting to see how they can work that out. For instance, I could totally see someone being a mage, having those insane movement and teleportation abilities, and then also having a tab target ability that just auto casts, where they can just continually get away, not really have to aim, and just consistently hit someone, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, unless that person like lines of sight some or something like that, but it's going to be really interesting to see what their vision is with that second phase of alpha.
Mm-hmm. And the final little bit of news that they have, which is not going to mean a whole lot by the time this comes out, we already knew about PAX West, but they're also going to Gamescom, which I think is going on right now, actually, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, they were actually going to be at Gamescom, which is pretty neat as well. So, guys, that's going to be the end of this episode of From the Ashes. Let's go down and tell people where they can find us. Let's start with our guest, Sinbad.
All right. Well, I'm Sinbad. I'm the leader of Ember. You can find us at our website, which is embers.us. What that is basically, our guild is all about PvX. We're all about community. We're all about competitiveness. So if you're interested in participating with us, jump in our Discord, jump on our website, and we'll be happy to take you on board.
All right. Alpha Soul.
Yeah, I can be found within the Dungeon Crawler Network on the Discord channels. You can find me in the Hands of Fate, or a couple other channels. You can also find me on YouTube at youtube.com/dracdoc or Drakdoc.
There you go. Stormzlord. I think you're muted there, buddy. Yeah.
Really muted again.
There you go.
Now we go. We're talking now. So we're giving away all the secrets, but too bad I was muted. All right. So DCN Discord is where you can find me. You can find me at digitalpiperstudios.com. And you can find me in ESO and hopefully Ashes of Creation when it gets moving.
There you go. And you can follow me on Twitter at Aggelos, AGGELOS_DCN. And of course, on the Discord, both the official Ashes of Creation Discord and our own community Discord, which you can find the links over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. We, of course, have a guild, which 3 of the 4 people are in. Sorry there, Sinbad. It's cool. Now, he's our buddy, so we're cool with that. But Hands of Fate is the Ashes of Creation chapter of the Dungeon Crawler Network, a gaming community forged by the listeners of our gaming shows. We are a PvX guild based on the North American data center when that comes out, but we have players from all over the world. We have scheduled events for each region's prime time, so if you're an EU or Oceanic resident but have enjoyed playing with us in the past, we encourage you to join up. Guild's focus is on progression rating, small-scale PvE, crafting, gathering, node-based PvP, aka the open world, and of course, community growth. We are definitely looking to build out some more of our PvP squads and PvE rating teams specifically, so if you're in the higher echelons of that and are interested in checking us out, head on over handsoffateaoc.com and put it in an application. I did want to make a note about applications because we had some issues, not really issues per se, but we had a few people making messages. If you try to sign in after creating an account, it asks for an activation code. That activation code is actually contained within the link sent to you by email, so just follow the link. If you try signing in before you get to the link, people are like, where's the activation code? Well, it's emailed and it's embedded in the link, so just click the link and you'll get activated. Then you can put in your application for us to review. So definitely just keep that in mind. I wanted to give a little PSA on that because that's happened to a couple people so far who they're like, it says for an activation code. Well, you have the email, right? Yeah, but there's no code in the email. Oh, yeah, okay. Anyway, you can follow everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. You can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show, as well as leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes they matter. Thank you for joining us on this episode of From the Ashes, and and we will see you next time. See you later, everybody.